right, folks. This episode is brought to you by my favorite sponsor, sunsetlakesebede.com. That's right. Use the code LEFTISBEST, one word. You get 20% off. What do you get 20% off of, Sam? Well, I'll tell you. You get 20% off of all their gummies. Right here, I've just taken some of the Focus gummies. But they also have some with some THC as well as CBD. And they have some with melatonin to help you sleep. They have all sorts of gummies. They've got tinctures. They've got CBD tinctures. They've got the sleep oil. Is it sleep oil or good night oil? Whichever one it is, that's the one that I lean on heavily these days. It's got some CBD and CBN. Also, they have fudge. They have CBD fudge and coffee. They have smokables, keef, pre-rolls, all great products. Third-party tested. You can check on their website. They use no pesticides in their CBD. They use integrated pest management. They also use regenerative farming practices, so they take care of the land. $20 minimum wage, mostly employee-owned company. And they are huge movement partners. They've donated thousands of dollars to things like Strike Relief Fund and refugee resettlement and carceral reform and Planned Parenthood and Give Directly, food banks. And they've engaged in mutual aid in the wake of the floods up in Vermont. These guys are from Burlington. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. sunsetlakesebede.com. Use the code LEFTISBEST. You get 20% off. And now time for the show.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
It is Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, 20 days till the presidential election. Whew. Polls basically unchanged as the ground games come into focus. Meanwhile, UN Security Council voices strong concern after Israeli attacks on peacekeepers. This as Israel reportedly plans its starvation and annexation strategy for northern Gaza. Meanwhile, Secretary Blinken and Austin demand Israel stop blocking U.S. humanitarian aid, and they got 30 days.
That's supposed to be against the law, by the way.
Just like every time you break the law, you always get 30 days grace period.
Say, stop it.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump goes full unhinged, strands his supporters in the desert. Kamala Harris to go on Fox News and maybe even Joe Rogan's program.
That'd be a good place for her to talk about her support for weed legalization and crypto, unfortunately. Yes. Yeah.
Senate neck and neck as Osborne in Nebraska may be the one who keeps the Republicans from a majority. North of the border, Canada alleges a much wider Modi campaign of violence against Sikhs. And FEMA efforts in North Carolina hampered by threats of violence. All this and more on today's Majority Report. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us. It is oddly
Newsday Tuesday.
That's right. I say oddly only because it's
It feels like Monday.
It feels like Monday for us because we were not here. I hope that you had the chance to listen to the interview that we replayed from, can't remember his first name, Derrico. He's
Peter Derrico.
Peter Derrico. And he's an attorney who specializes in Indian law. And that's where the doctrine of discovery, I first discovered the doctrine of discovery. Of course, he told me about it. It existed. But he walks through how a papal decree, I think it was from the 1400s, is still in operation today in terms of why we can continually, and by we, I mean the U.S. government, essentially steal land from indigenous people in this country. And it's a fascinating sort of way in which religious decrees get whitewashed through the ages. I mean, we're talking now 600 years. So if you haven't heard that, go back and check it out. In the meantime, I am back from Las Vegas.
Yes.
And we are here. And
Did you leave with any money?
I left with money, but
Yeah.
not as much as I showed up with. I
Okay,
can
not
tell you that right now.
So you were not up when you left. I was waiting for a text. If you were victorious, perhaps you would have let me know that you ended up winning some money at blackjack.
I watched the guy Scott, who helps me out, sort of producing the show there and finding guests. I watched him win $4,000 in a electronic poker machine.
Wow.
Yeah, that did not happen to me.
Ah,
But I had fun.
good.
So, all right, we are 20 days out from the election. There's, we were commenting before the program, there's a lot of like 3/4 stories going on. Of course, horrible things happening in Gaza and Lebanon, just horrible images coming out of Gaza. We will talk about that later in the program. I'm sure most of you are aware of those just horrible things going on in Gaza, and hesitate to say that there's some movement maybe on the U.S. side, but we can talk about that. It's probably more aspirational and motivated reasoning than anything else, but that's where we're at the moment. In the meantime, we will talk a little bit about where the race is, including the Senate races. And we're finally starting to get some reporting about the ground games in the relative states. Again, all this stuff is going to make more sense on November 6th, or rather when the election is over, which could be, January 2025 for that matter. But we'll see. In the meantime, J.D. Vance, we're still seeing the sort of like the impact of the vice presidential debate. For the most part, I think everybody's completely forgotten about it. I mean, this was almost, it was 2 weeks ago to the day.
Totally.
And it seems like it was about 6 years ago. However, J.D. Vance is still being dogged by, I mean, say what you will about the debate. He's still being dogged by this question. And in that sense, I don't know how you measure this, but in that sense, it was a victory for Tim Walz. And I will also add that when you tie into what seems to be the Harris strategy of making this election about approaching disaffected Republicans, not a strategy that I agree with, and I'm not convinced that it's going to be a winning one, but I don't know how we measure that at this point. But with that said, this question that keeps dogging J.D. Vance,
it's a problem for them.
Dovetails nicely with that strategy.
Yep.
Here is J.D. Vance being interviewed by Lulu Garcia Navarro, I guess, who is at the New York Times. I'm not familiar with her work. They videotaped this, and here is J.D. Vance answering a relatively easy question with another question.
In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election.
Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator,
Lulu,
yes or no?
Okay.
Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said it cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator
I think that's
Vance,
the question.
I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020
And I've answered
election?
your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the
All right,
American
pause it for
people
1 second,
to
then we'll
know.
go back a little bit. But first off, I'm sure everybody remembers reading that J.D. Vance Oppo research packet that was apparently hacked, and because you could access it on Twitter via Ken Klippenstein. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've got that backwards. You could not access that on Twitter because Ken Klippenstein was banned from Twitter because he put a link
He's
to
back
it.
now.
He was
but-
election hacked briefly, though.
But if Trump wins this election, I'm going to be going nuts about how the suspension of Ken Klippenstein was election interference by Elon Musk and J.D. Vance.
We should put out a research that
Yes.
suggests Kamala Harris would have had gotten a lot more votes if people could see the pics of Ken Klippenstein sitting at his desk, realizing that he was banned from Twitter.
It's a suppression of vital information.
What do you think it is about the dick pics of Hunter Biden
Yeah.
that would have swayed millions of votes?
No, this is what the
Is
Silicon
it
Valley...
like this thing? Like, he's got one of these problems?
Yeah.
Silicon Valley sort of like right-wingers they feel too smart to say illegals are cramming the ballot box, but they need another way to get in with those people, because that's the base, to say the election was stolen. And this is the fancy or boutique way of saying the election was stolen.
Of course. And I love the idea of, like, you answer my question, then I'll answer your question. Go back a little bit. This is one of the most petulant things. Like, and this is like the 5th time he's been asked this.
Yep.
You'd think he could come up with an answer.
He can't, though.
Because he's terrified of Trump being like, what are you
100%.
doing?
Exactly.
Another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020
But
election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying,
What?
which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal
Industrial
government
scale.
in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something.
Pause it for a second. Have you ever seen that, like, bumper sticker that says every court case went this way?
Kamala Harris
Dot, dot, dot.
2024. Every court case went this way. Haven't you heard
Stop
that?
talking about court cases. You're sloganeering.
It's ridiculous. She's just describing the set of facts. Oh, come on. Stop
You know,
repeating a slogan to me.
54-40 or fight, and we have struck out entirely through the legal system.
Another slogan.
Like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete, a problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies,
The answer is no.
when you have technology companies censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote, I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no. And
So this plays right into what she's trying to convey, but the fact that Pence, I mean, this is what we hate about the Liz Cheney thing coming out there, but this is what they're trying to articulate to those independents who over 60% think Trump lost the election fair and square in 2020. that basically now there's no guardrails in between him becoming like a dictator, because JD Vance is not going to be Mike Pence in that situation where, like, I mean, look, who knows if that's true, but I do think the threat is legitimate, and it, like, the democracy angle, I think, plays with a lot of independence.
I think that's true from an electoral standpoint. What I would like to see is a reporter at that point say, well, if you believe that private companies do not have the right to moderate their platforms, and it is, then I'd be curious as if you think it's also, I mean, because, I don't know how you would enforce this, right? I mean, it would have to be via governmental edict that Hunter Biden's dick pics should be released on Twitter, as should JD Vance's Oppo research. But if he's okay with that, where does he stand on the question of limiting campaign contributions by these same corporations that presumably either they do or do not have the right, like, if it's freedom of expression,
right,
or they're willing to curb the freedom of expression by enforcing an edict, a government edict, as to what they have to say. I mean, there's two sides to the First Amendment, right? No forced speech, no censorship of speech. If they're going to force speech, in other words, you got to link through to JD Vance's Oppo research and Hunter Biden's dick pics, then, and he's willing to sort of force that, is he also willing to curb their ability to spend money in the context of campaigns for all his tech bro buddies? And of course he's not. He's not going to in any way inhibit that. But the funny part about this as well is the argument, this has already been settled by the Supreme Court when they said this type of moderation that JD Vance is talking about, where the government forces them to not decide that they're going to moderate in any way these comments, is a free speech question. That has come back to haunt the Supreme Court, or may, in the series of TikTok cases that we've just recently had, which basically where a circuit court judge has said, well, if they have freedom of speech in that the government cannot dictate to them how their algorithm presents or how they moderate comments, then they're not just a platform; they're actually publishers.
Right.
So we're headed for a bunch of different disparate principles that are basically careening toward each other. It would be nice to see a reporter, knowing that JD Vance is always going to lean on this, begin to question him. Okay, well, let's carry through on this. If you think the government can force these big tech companies, and I have no problem with this on some level, can force them to change their algorithm or to change the terms of their services, what else can the government do in terms of regulating corporations' speech? I'm all in favor for it. I'd love to see what JD Vance says about that.
Well, he's also, that argument that he's making, just to be clear, Trump was not making that in 2020. He had a fake elector scheme. He was talking about wide-scale fraud.
They're bussing him in.
They're bussing illegal immigrants in to vote for Biden. I mean,
he's still saying all that stuff.
But JD Vance has to be cleanup crew and go out there and be swarmy lawyer and just not refuse to answer the question. But I think the more people see of this, it's a liability for them. It truly is. No one listens to that, and not even a diehard. I mean, maybe that's not true. They're in a cult, but most people watching that go, this guy is lying to your face. Yes.
And I would have loved to seen the reporter, after she has made it clear that he's not going to say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, then go into, can you explain to us just exactly what it is about Hunter Biden's penises, penis pictures, that would have garnered Donald Trump millions of votes?
I mean, it must have been that devastating. You just got to question his dad.
I feel like we should put Don Jr. and Hunter Biden in a room with a cookie, and then just like sort of decide then what the results are going to be.
I'm taking Hunter.
In a way,
one.
it's sort of election interference that everybody isn't subscribed to Ken Klippenstein's Substack.
That's many people are saying that.
Folks, a couple words from our sponsors. Difficult to find what to wear at times. You know what I find is a problem? Like, let's say when I'm going to Las Vegas, it used to be like I'd have my shirts. I'd put them all in my bag. They would all get wrinkled. I'd pull them out. Then I'd have to pretend like I knew how to iron.
Yeah.
And
those hotel irons, I've had bad experiences with them. They can burn your clothes by accident. I mean, sometimes you don't they're not whatever. Sometimes if it's a more delicate fabric, I'm adding to the ad read.
I didn't even realize there was a difference in like what the iron could do to fabrics. Exactly. Thank you. But as you know, men's closets are due for a radical reinvention, and Rhone stepped up to the challenge. Rhone's commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man. Here is why. Rhone helps you get ready for any occasion with the commuter collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you wear the Rhone commuter collection. I brought 3 button-down shirts to Las Vegas. 2 white, 1, the kind of blue, whatever that blue is.
Right.
That light blue. And 3 Rhone shirts. They were fantastic. They look like, like your normal dress shirt. Except for they're incredibly comfortable, they're breathable, they're stretchable, and the wrinkles, to the extent that there's any wrinkles after packing them, they just completely go away when you put them on, and you don't smell after a long day. And it was hot there outside in Las Vegas. And if I played golf, I could literally wear that shirt playing golf. They're that sort of stretchable and flexible. And they have this Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. I don't know what Gold Fusion is, but you do smell good all day. And Rhone is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner all together. I've got now a Rhone suit, Rhone shirts, Rhone pants. The commuter collection get you through any workday straight into whatever comes next. Head to Rhone.com/Majority Report. Use the promo code Majority Report. Save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE. That's Rhone.com/Majority Report. All one word. Use the code Majority Report. It is time to find your corner office comfort. Also, this is the next sponsor. We'll put the link in the podcast and YouTube description, incidentally. Our next sponsor is one that I've been using for years, actually. And they just coincidentally now have become a sponsor. You may wonder how much of your personal data is out there on the internet for anybody to see. Well, a lot more than you think. And I have been specifically sensitive to this for years. Your name, your contact info, social security number, home address, even information about your family members, all being compiled by data brokers and sold online. Sold online to other businesses and sold online to people can look it all up. Over the last decade, U.S. has witnessed a steady growth in politically motivated, threatening online behavior, peaking around election cycles. I mean, yes. Can verify. A key enabler of the growth of personalized political attacks online is the abundance of sensitive personal information available. It is very easy for people like this to find private personal details from data brokers on basically 98% of U.S. citizens. Delete Me is a service that basically can wipe almost all of your presence from online data brokers. They have research that shows that the volume of personal data on individuals available online has tripled between 2019 and 2023 to an average over 525 pieces of personal info per person. This is available for free or for as little as $5 a profile.
Can feel seen.
Yes. You can't necessarily control whether you're a target, but you can make it harder for any type of threat actors to escalate threats by taking a proactive approach to the security of your personal information. I think I've been using Delete Me for 5 or 6 years. They send a report on a regular basis. What they do is Delete Me finds and removes any personal information you don't want online and makes sure it stays off. Delete Me is a subscription service that removes your personal info from the largest people search databases on the web. In the process, helps prevent things like potential ID theft, doxing, and phishing scams. Sign up. You provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted, and their experts take it from there. Delete Me sends you regularly personalized privacy reports into what they found, where they found it, and what they've removed. And Delete Me isn't just a one-time service because these data brokers keep re-upping their stuff. So Delete Me is always working for you, constantly monitoring and removing the personal information you don't want on the internet. Put it simply, Delete Me does all the hard work of wiping you and your family's personal information from data broker websites. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners, get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting majority to 64,000. So that number is 64000. Text majority to 64,000. That's majority to 64,000. Message and data rates apply. See terms for details. This is a really effective service. So check it out. And we'll put, well, we won't have a link, but we'll put those instructions in the podcast and YouTube descriptions. All right, let's get to this. We were just saying too before the show here, pop M up here, that if Joe Biden had not been the nominee or the presumptive nominee, he was never the nominee. Let's make that clear. There would have been more notice that Donald Trump is sort of like not just in untreated syphilis mode, but also in sort of like going off the la land mode.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, he's officially the oldest party nominee for president. I mean, Biden would have taken that cake if he ended up being the official nominee, but he's officially the oldest, and he's been running for president for 10 years. For 10 years,
the
Donald Trump
entire
has
time
been running
I've
for
been doing this professionally.
Yeah.
Basically.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I started 2015 election season.
Jesus, I feel bad for you.
I know.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well, you too, right?
I mean, no, I started in 2016, so right after. Yeah, I mean, but it's been like there's a whole generations of kids that just like don't even really remember Obama and just only know Trump in their political life for the most part.
God.
It's amazing. But I just think there is a lot of fatigue, both from the general public about Donald Trump, and then clearly with him in the campaigning. He's not he's not filling stadiums in the way that he used to. His rallies are way harder to follow. Like back in 2016, and my first event ever covering things like as an intern at TYT was going to a Trump event in New York where he was giving a speech after Bernie Sanders had officially withdrawn. And he was knowingly kind of co-opting some of what Sanders was saying. I'm going to give you health care for all. He was right. Hillary is corrupt. She's in the swamp, etc. These were messages that actually had resonance and made sense for the political time period. But now he's just like rambling about windmills and 200% tariffs, pissing off the business press in that regard. And he clearly doesn't care about this anymore. This, I felt like, was a pretty good example.
Which one is this? Is this in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, this is in Oaks, Pennsylvania, too. This is none sheep, but this is kind of setting it off before they started.
He's there with Kristi Noem, probably wishing, like, I should have picked her, but she's a girl. And this is coming after, so he may be a little sensitive to this because this is coming after apparently he did a rally in Coachella. We'll play a clip from that. And not the actual Coachella, like Coachella adjacent, where I guess you don't have to pay as much. And he people passed out at that rally because it was so hot. And then they stranded like all the people out in the desert. And
which happened.
He did that
before.
in 2020 with Omaha. In Omaha, do you remember?
When it was cold.
Because they're cheaping out on the buses to
100%.
take people from the parking lots.
It's cheaper if we do it one way, right? Okay, let's just do that. And so he's sensitive to people passing out. And apparently, multiple people fainted at the heat of this rally. And then he decided, like, I'm make
done now.
lemons, take lemonade and make lemons.
Us.
And we can spend a little more time.
Yes.
And personally, I enjoy this. We lose weight. You know? No, you lose weight. We could do this, lose 4 or 5 pounds. It's okay with me.
Kamala Harris is.
But some people have been waiting here for 2 days for this. So, you know, it's a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough, but they're going to try and get those doors open.
Yes.
And I don't know whose building this is, but if they had air conditioning, do you see any air conditioning?
They probably can't afford it, sir, in this economy.
That's right.
Pause it for a second. Now, just I think probably everybody knows this, but they could afford it if they could count on the people renting their facility to pay them. There is a story out today that the city of Minneapolis is owed $200,000 by Donald Trump, and we've talked about this in the past. The reason why Trump was so insistent on having outdoor rallies for the most part was because there's only so many places amongst these swing states that you're going to go.
Yep.
And over the course of the past 2 elections, the Trump campaign has burned so many of these locations by not paying them that they don't let him in anymore. And so he's got to go to outside places where the fees are much less.
Yes.
And he's just paying vendors. He's not paying for a facility.
And also, the security is much less. But
that's the point. Is that that's why they had begged him not to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, out into that field, but his campaign was like, we have no other place to go because they won't let us in the facilities here. So he's at a place, and they probably won't turn on the air conditioning because you don't trust them to pay for it.
We didn't pay for the air conditioning package.
Yeah, and so multiple
when
people...
economies are bad, people don't want to make more money. What?
It doesn't make any sense. Christine Owens was trying to get him on track, but that was what preceded him preemptively wrapping up, or way too early wrapping up, his town hall. He just didn't feel like doing it anymore. He got pissed off that people were passing out. It was interrupting whatever he was doing.
I can't get into a flow.
Yeah.
Is there more of this? Let's play this and then we'll lead into it.
Yeah. So they're wrapping it up here, and this is how they transition into what has been reported as 39 minutes straight of just standing around listening to music.
Open. That feels good.
It does.
I feel it right now. I don't know who's out there trying to get in, but you know what I feel? Doesn't that feel nice?
Yes.
And you don't even have, there's nothing like outdoors. You don't even have the cost of an air conditioner.
Right.
They have them in this beautiful factory. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yep. Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said you wanted to close with a specific song.
Okay, let's do a couple of
two more fast questions.
So, Justin, how about a couple of really beauties, and we'll sit down, relax. Let me just give you the bottom line, though. We win Pennsylvania. We win this great Commonwealth. We are going to win the whole ball game. It's such an important place, and we relate. And we are up in the polls fairly nicely, but it's really important. And we're going to turn this country around. It's the greatest movement in the history of our country, MAGA, Make America Great Again. When Biden would go on, he used to go on, say, we will stop MAGA. We will stop, remember with the purple background, the pink and purple. He looked like the devil, right?
Does anybody know what he's talking about?
But they would say, we're going to stop MAGA. MAGA means Make America Great
again.
I mean, what are you going to stop? And we are indeed going to make America great again. America has never, we're a declining nation right now. We're a nation in decline. And we're not going to be in decline for long, let me tell you. Every country respected us 4 years ago. We were energy independent. We had everything. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're going to bring it back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Go and vote. Let me hear that music, please.
Everyone, let's thank President Trump.
nice and loud.
Okay.
bless you.
Now we got to turn that down now. Okay, we got to turn that
President
down.
Trump back to
We
the
got to
White
turn that
House.
music off. Okay, and we're replacing it with non-licensed music. And just give you a what's going on here? They did this for 39 minutes. He just stood on stage and listened. They played Ave Maria twice.
And Hallelujah, but the Shrek cover from Shrek 2, a woman singing it, not the Jeff Buckley version.
All right, we're going to just watch him stand here, listen to music for, a minute, and then let's cut to the other one where he's still listening to music.
This is not a loop, folks, by the way. We're going to let this run.
This is just the unlicensed music that we can actually play without getting
it's
dinged.
much more upbeat. It's very maudlin.
Yeah, but there he goes. Now he's directing music now. I think he was supposed to be doing questions at this point. Someone may have yelled out like, "What do you think of your daughter?" And he starts to do this thing.
Voluptuous.
All right, so let's cut to with this music. We will cut to. We've had problems with the music rights in the past, folks. So wait, just go to the get his image up, and then you can play the music. I can even do this. I'll play the Rose or Lawrence Welk.
That the Rose is much more like what he was listening to.
All right, so this is just a different angle, and he's listening to the music. This is what's going on. There's just different music. Kristi Noem's walking around. He's like, "What you doing?" And he's just standing there for.
There's something wrong with him.
40 minutes.
There's something wrong with him. Like something wrong with him more than that was wrong before, right? Like he's not all there.
Grandpa's slowing down.
Yeah. She's like, Kristi Noem, you want to play? Can we play your favorite song, Grandpa? Yes, I'd like that very much. Oh my God. So apparently Kristi Noem was like shuffling on and off the stage frantically because they were supposed to be taking questions, and he's just like, I don't feel like it.
I don't want to take questions. I just want to listen to some music.
Still 30 seconds left.
What is he doing? I don't need to answer questions. Look it. I think people just want to see me having fun.
Don't they like this music?
Chilling out. Look it. I'll walk over here.
Noem's taking photos. He doesn't go into the crowd at all. He's notoriously germaphobe.
Yeah,
so
wait, hold on. What's the?
he could have used this
I
opportunity
need a longer track list.
to do the Elizabeth Warren selfie line.
Yep,
but
there
that would
it
be,
is.
I don't want to touch him. I just want to be near him.
Well, I don't, maybe it's effective. I don't know for his people.
I mean, repeated stimulant use at that age of 78, I've seen, can create some accelerating qualities in terms of someone's decline. Just saying, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, let's go to this as him. One of the reasons why, I don't know if he's nervous about this whole tariffs question. I mean, I should say that there is a value to tariffs. I mean, I do not, when we hear things like free trade, what we're talking about is free trade for a specific, we allow capital to freely trade. We don't necessarily allow labor to freely trade. And I think there is value in industrial planning for our country to say we want to invest in certain industries, both by providing funds, loans, whatever it is, but also to put other countries' industries at a disadvantage if we're trying to grow a specific industry. That's what a tariff is for. Tariff isn't to collect money.
That's what taxes are for.
That's what taxes are for. A tariff is to use money as a way of inhibiting the sales of one thing and increasing the sales of another. So in other words, I want to inhibit the sales of Chinese solar panels because I want to build a U.S. solar panel industry. And and to ramp up and get to a volume where prices can be lower. That's what happens with technology. The U.S. industry needs time. So I'm going to even the playing field or even tilt it towards the U.S. manufacturers by making Chinese solar panels that much more expensive. Somehow Donald Trump doesn't get this, and people keep asking him about it. This is, what is this? Isn't number 5? Yeah. Okay,
this is Maria
let's play this with his, one of his biggest fans in the media.
Oh, yeah.
Maria Bartiromo is here.
Your thinking is the threat of a 200% tariff will stop them from taking the car. So you won't actually have to do it, so you're not going to actually push.
Pause it. I mean, listen to how he has never said these words. He has said 200% tariff over and over again. He has never said the threat is going to do anything. Yep. He's actually said the reason why you don't have to worry about childcare. He hasn't made the direct line, but when he's asked a question, this is like a month ago at the New York Economics Forum or whatever it was. What's your plan for childcare? And he goes, we're not going to have to worry about it because we're going to do a 200% tariff and we're going to collect so much money that we can pay for whatever we want.
He doesn't even understand what a tariff does in that sense. And it's also the reason this, first of all, he canceled the CNBC interview today at the last minute. The polls have narrowed and between Harris and Trump on who's better for the economy. And I think the campaign knows that it's not like Harris is selling a vision for the economy that outside of the price gouging stuff, which I think is good, is that transformative. But the negatives for Trump are this tariff thing that people listen to this and they go, that sounds insane. And I think he's exacerbating it.
And that's why the business reporter is sitting here on Fox basically walking him through what he's supposed to say.
Right.
And I don't even know if he even picks up on that.
And she's a partisan business reporter. That's why he canceled on CNBC, because they might have actually asked him a real question without coaching him.
Your thinking is the threat of a 200% tariff will stop them from taking the car. So you won't actually have to do it, so you're not going to actually push prices higher.
I never until now I said 200. I'm using that just as a figure.
But you say 200 a lot.
Oh, I'll say 100, 200, I'll say 500. I don't care. They're not going to bring cars into this country from Mexico and destroy what car companies we have left. But much more than that, I'm going to predict.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what he says.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
I think he must. I think this is the reason why he's on CNBC. I canceled it. I mean, he must have gotten the word that like no one's buying this 200% tariff thing.
Right.
And so just make it like 200, 150, 500. It doesn't matter. I'm just talking.
He's just lying.
Saying things okay.
Because Matt made this point before the show. No one even asks about the wall anymore. We were going to have a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it. Walls brought it up at the debate. But it's just, he's a liar. He's an obvious liar. And he just says whatever he can to get out of the conversation feeling like he won.
I'll make the tariff twice as high with that attitude.
And there's no carryover from one conversation to the next. And it could be within the span of 10 minutes. It doesn't matter.
He's going to outsource this to the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. They've done all the work. I didn't know what it was. I've looked at some of it good, some of it bad, but I don't need to know anything. New Dad says on the IM, Chinese solar panels are so cheap already, there's no point in leveraging tariffs on them. It will only slow down adoption. It makes more sense for the government to cultivate industries producing the peripherals and the power control equipment that solar systems also require, which are industries where we already have substantial manufacturing here, in my opinion. You may be case, I was just using that as an example.
Right. But Biden did make an effort to do that. I mean, again, it's through this like hawkish China competitive angle, but the CHIPS Act did invest in domestic manufacturing on that front.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's the thing is a lot of the stuff like Democrats are already on it.
Yeah, well, right, and I think I think it's reflective. Under Biden, we added hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs. Some of the numbers, it's hard to say because the campaign's advertising or the administration's advertising a bigger number than some experts say, but we lost manufacturing jobs under Trump, added them under Biden. That's just a cold, hard fact. And
that's not even like calculating COVID. I mean, There was a concerted effort by the Biden administration to do industrial planning, and manufacturing jobs have increased exponentially. Let's turn to, let's just do this Coachella story for a moment, and then we'll get back to sort of like Trump's intense ranting. Do we also have that Youngkin thing? All right. So after we play number 6, I want to play that Youngkin thing where he's addressing it. But here is a clip of that somebody took that was promoted by Republicans against Trump on Twitter of folks stranded in the desert, I guess. Coachella, it takes place where in California?
It's in Palm Springs, which the record for that part of the country was in October was just broken for temperature. It was 117 2 weeks ago in early October.
It's good. You lose weight.
The highest ever recorded. Yeah, he said that. In Pennsylvania. But like, this is an outdoor venue in the desert.
So this was Saturday. And apparently there was a Trump supporter from Las Vegas who showed up with a ton of weapons because
it's a Trump rally.
It's a Trump rally, and why wouldn't you?
America.
The Trump people are trying to make it like they were going to be a victim of a third assassination attempt.
I've got bad news for Trump. If he wants to say that anytime someone comes armed to his rally, that could constitute an assassination attempt, that means bad things for his events.
So Trump left the stage after a 90-minute address, and apparently there had been 20 buses that took them out to this site, and only 3 on the way back because you don't need them there as quick. You can save money. It's about the economy.
You've already got the money by that point.
Here is a stranded Coachella, or I guess a Trump Coachella, Trumpella goer. Basically just, I don't know if they were streaming this live or what.
This looks identical to the Omaha one from 4 years ago.
This isn't normal. Apparently the buses are no longer coming, or at least there used to be like 20 buses when we were being brought here, but now there's only like 3 buses operating, and it's an absolute,
He says it tastes like water.
it's just chaos, absolute chaos.
So,
All of us are stranded
so
here.
we're facing down.
Everyone's stranded here.
I mean, he only cared about getting them to the rally, but not getting them back, right?
They didn't have much left.
Something
I guess maybe
went wrong.
the rally ended early and they didn't pay for him to come back soon enough. I don't know. How do you F that up?
Well, if you're cheap, but
Look at this.
this is apparently 5 miles from the parking lot.
It's a warm desert night. You'll be fine. Lose weight.
Sorry, excuse me. There's supposed to be like 20 buses here, and there's
All those MAGA hats in the dark.
Exactly.
everyone's starting to freak out.
Can you imagine a
People
worse
that go
place to
down
be
the
that's surrounded by
street.
like 100 guys in MAGA hats getting
I don't know
increasingly
how long.
frustrated?
I mean, look, I don't pretend to know this area. I guess it's adjacent to Palm Springs. But it doesn't seem like there's a ton of infrastructure.
No, I don't imagine.
Somebody, and they've been running us around through all the different streets.
Incidentally, we also rented out the porta
Let's
potties
go
to ourselves
east,
here,
and then
so
going west,
we made
and
a
then
killing.
east again, and then going
Killing.
west, and
All right, pause it.
An
All
absolute
right, we don't need to see
madness.
any more of this. Incidentally, the campaign manager of the Trump campaign, $23 million he's made in the past 2 years.
Really?
That's what was reported, something like that, where he's got consulting firms that have been
Oh, of
working. I mean, it's
course.
not all net profit, and plus the taxes.
Which is interesting because there was a report this morning in the New York Times about how essentially Donald Trump has the most skeleton campaign staff possible. While Kamala Harris has hundreds of people working on her campaign in terms of payroll. And last election, he had hundreds as well. He only has 11 people on the payroll for his official campaign committee.
That just seems bizarre.
Because this is what we've been trying to say. They are using this as a fundraising mechanism for his legal bills, for all this other stuff that he wants to do, and then he has these scams that he's putting out. Like, they're taking the money, and maybe there will be investigation later. My prediction is that they're taking the money out of these campaign committees or PACs, and it's going towards his legal bills, and they're shorter on money than their fundraising numbers would indicate.
Just buy a watch.
Yeah.
$100,000 watch worth about $15.
Yep.
And coincidentally, it's all Saudi emirs who buy it. I don't know why.
So odd.
There's something about the Saudis they love.
got great
Popular in the Gulf states.
Great taste.
Viktor Orban bought 17 of these. All right, let's play this last clip. Let's play 6, and then we'll play 6, and then we'll get to the Israel-Gaza stuff after the break. Which I know it's the fun half, and we're starting off in a rather depressing way, but maybe we'll get to it. Here is Donald Trump. I don't know if Donald Trump will actually do this or not. But understand, this is what his voters want. There is a significant cohort of his voters want this. And, part of the sense is that, like, you've got all these sort of like never Trumper or now not Trumper Republicans who are hoping that Trump goes away, that Harris beats him bad enough that the Republicans have a reinterpretation, a re-understanding of what they need to do to win in the future. And again, this is why there's no teaching the Democrats a lesson. There's no teaching the Republicans a lesson. That's not the way it works. The reason why Republicans are not going to change is because the vast majority of their voters, there's really, not a huge distinction between their base and their not their base, right? The vast majority of Republican voters want what Trump is promising here. And if they don't get it from Trump, they're going to want it from somebody else in the future. There's no Jeff Flake's not going to make a comeback with the Republicans after Donald Trump exit either the political arena or just the worldly arena. Here is him with Badaramo. And I think she's like also going, well, you don't mean specifically. Well, yeah, sure I do.
Let's remember, you've got 50,000 Chinese nationals in this country in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You have people on the terrorist watch list, 350 in the last couple of years. You got, like you said, 13,000 murderers and 15,000 rapists.
Right.
What are you expecting? Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful election day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
Let's
Okay. So let's just be clear here, right? She lists off immigrants and foreign nationals, and he says, well, they're a problem, but they're not the real problem. The real problem is the radical leftists. I don't know how you can interpret that any other way, but let's watch Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, the future of the Republican Party, right? Youngkin is the one who is going to be the new face of the Republican Party. He was so successful on his parents' rights tour, which was really just a massive anti-trans program, essentially, and COVID denial tour, I guess. But here is Glenn Youngkin on with Jake Tapper, and Tapper apparently plays that clip for Youngkin, reads the transcript, and here is Youngkin's interpretation.
Had senior people from our national security apparatus say that there's 15,000 violent felons in the United States. They have no idea where they are. That is what I believe the president is referring to. I don't think that he's referring to elected people in America. But I'm
literally reading his quotes. I'm literally reading his quotes to you, and I played them earlier so you could hear that they were not made up by me. He's literally talking about, quote, radical left lunatics. And then one of those lunatics he mentioned was Congressman Adam Schiff. Criminals should be locked up. Migrants who are in this country illegally, who are violent, should be locked up and deported. I grant you all of that, and I am not denying that it's happening at all.
So
I am talking about, but I'm talking about Donald Trump saying that he wants to use the National Guard and the military to go after the left. That's what he's saying.
I don't believe that's what he's saying. But listen, you and I are going to argue about that. But I would suggest if you would also.
I played the quote and I read it to you.
If you would also
you
balance
can wish that he weren't saying that, but that's what he's saying.
Jake, all the time people are taking little snippets of content and turning it into a big narrative. I think exactly what he's concerned about, because I've heard him express it before, are the number of national security risks, violent criminals, and folks who are coming into this country where we don't know where they are, that are committing crimes and put people's safety at risk. And I do think that on the same balance, I think you should cover the fact that over the course of the last 3.5 years, there has been an unprecedented and unrestrained flow across our border, and it has put Americans' lives and so much of our livelihood at jeopardy. And I think that's a very important, clear reality that we have to face. You know, one of the things that's happened in Virginia is
He's
that
just
on
letting
Friday,
him like filibuster now.
The Justice Department sued Virginia for simply doing a very basic constitutionally.
Let me ask you about that.
Constitutionally authorized step, which is to make sure that non-citizens aren't on our voter roll.
Yeah, let me ask you about that, because I want to bring, because people might not be aware of it, so I want to give it. But before I do that, I just want to note, I was just reading you his quotes, and he was not talking about dangerous migrants in those quotes. Later, there were other quotes about those migrants, and he was saying that people shouldn't even, children shouldn't even be sending their kids to school with the kids of migrants. But you don't want to accept those quotes. Let's move on to this other thing, because this is important.
I mean, go on, Sam. But like, it's just what Trump was repeating there is kind of just Project 2025, and that's what scares them, I think, a little bit. The purging of these radical leftists from the country. But Trump is here, like, he means the government. He means the government in that instance, which is a key tenet of Project 2025.
Yes, and also, you know, one of the questions you could ask is, what's this stuff about using the military?
Right.
Don't we have something called posse comitatus in this country? But, you know, I think, like, to a certain extent, again, the press is not even still, it's gotten better, but they still don't know how to react to non-Trump people lying to their faces. The media has not caught up with this phenomenon. In some ways, I don't know if they care or what. I mean, put that aside. They do not know how to deal with it. And, you know, at the very least, we've seen two examples today. New York Times, you know, refusing to sort of like in making a point of like, you're not answering the question. Let's just be clear of that. After you've gotten 4 chances at it, Tapper does the same thing. But at one point, there should be, like, if you know they're lying to you, what, you should be consistently bringing this up. Like, how can we, listen,
Let's move on to this other
denied
thing.
reality, right? Like, okay, you and I disagree on whether at, 1:04 p.m. in the Eastern in the afternoon, whether it's daytime or nighttime. We disagree on that. You say it's nighttime. I say it's daytime.
Yeah.
Let's go on to another topic that you can espouse on. I mean, at one point you have to say, like, why should anything you say now have any credibility when you so clearly are lying about this other thing?
It's because it's all a little bit of a choreographed. I mean, Youngkin knows he's.
How else are we going to fill the show?
Yeah, Youngkin knows he's gonna. There's a little bit of a symbiotic relationship too, where they understand that they're going to be criticized on this particular thing, and they have to run cover for Trump, who they know is insane. But it's all about like the media getting their licks in, but not really fundamentally going after the Republican Party project or conservatism more broadly.
This was going on back when Paul Ryan was talking about his dumb plans to, that austerity was going to help people, or telling, fabricated stories about some kid in school in Wisconsin who didn't want to get a free lunch because he preferred to have a brown bag lunch. All made up. The media at that, back then wouldn't even question it, but we're in a different era. Hopefully, maybe there'll be some improvement. I doubt it. All right, we're going to take a break, head into the so-called fun half of the program, wherein we will start off with what is going on in Gaza and in Lebanon and in this country in terms of a response. We'll see. Some of it may be, some of our interpretation may be wishful thinking, but we'll see. Just a reminder, it's your support that makes this show possible. You can become a member by going to jointhemajorityreport.com, wherein you become a member of the program. You help the show survive and thrive, and you get the free half free of commercials. And then you can also IM us via the app at majorityapp.com. We take all IMs. Sometimes we don't read yours because we get so many, but we don't screen them. We just roll down, and it's all catch as catch can. Also, in the fun half, we will take some phone calls. Don't forget justcoffee.coop, fair trade coffee and hot chocolate. Use your coupon code majority, get 10% off. Emma, ESVN.
Off this week because Bradley is out, but hopefully next week. I forgot to talk to you about this map, but maybe we'll be doing an NBA show if you want to come on. We shall see.
It's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. There's some intra-team drama right now between the Timberwolves and the Knicks, so that could be a fun topic to discuss. YouTube.com/ESPN show.
Yeah, Rick Brunson.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, on Left Reckoning tonight, exciting stuff. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, folks, or Twitch, because we are covering the debate between Ted Cruz and Colin Allred live.
Oh!
And we'll also be talking with Alex Salmon about the crypto spending in the elections. Finally, crypto. We found a use for crypto, which is besides buying drugs and money laundering,
buying politicians,
which is, so I stand corrected on it not having any practical use.
Ted Cruz seems very mad at Mitch McConnell for not providing funds for his campaign. He's looking for excuses already.
That's interesting.
Yep.
I mean, maybe he should
He's
have
gonna
made
be a podcaster like us.
Yes, that's he's more interested in podcasting.
He clearly is.
Maybe Cruz should have made one friend in Congress. Maybe he should have made one friend, because even Republicans hate Ted Cruz.
Oh, speaking of podcasting friends, did I send you guys the tweet from Steven Crowder's ex-wife about her theory about machismo guys?
You didn't send me that, but I did see that myself. Yeah.
I tried to send it to you, but it's hard to send a group text because you're Android and I can't do it when I'm...
Didn't Elizabeth Warren sort all that stuff out? I can't remember.
I think it's going to change shortly. But apparently Hillary Crowder has this theory about machismo men covering up for confused sexual...
She said the logical...
odd.
She said this is Hillary Crowder, Stephen Crowder's ex. The logical conclusion is that many of the loudest voices in the manosphere that hold such contempt for women are deeply closeted. They have very little, if any, attraction to women. Even if they never act on it, their true desire is to be with another man. That was the same day, just coincidentally, that Stephen Crowder released a show called How Feminist Politics Are Destroying America, along with Hurricane Milton. So.
Weird. Well, I'm sure she has a lot of friends who are top YouTube or right-wing commentators.
I don't know what experience she has about.
You don't know what first-hand experience she would have with these other people. I mean,
Totally.
it could have been Crowder. Who knows? Strange.
Shot in the dark there.
I also have a similar theory we've talked about.
Interesting.
Yep. Folks, see you in the fun half.
You are in for it.
All right, folks, 646-257-3920. See you in the fun half.
Are you ready?
Who sent us this?
Alpha males are back. Boy is back. And the alpha males are back.
Just as delicious as you could imagine.
The alpha males are back. Boy is back. And the alpha males are back.
Just want to degrade the white man.
Alpha males are back.
I take all of it in my throat.
Alpha males are back.
Snowflakes says what?
The alpha males are back.
You are a madman.
And the alpha males are back.
Oh no, Sam Seder! What a fucking nightmare!
Bring back DJ.
Yeah, or a couple of them. Just put them in rotation.
DJ Denner.
Well, the problem with those is they're like 45 seconds long, so I don't know if they're enough of a break time.
That's fucking nonsense. You see white people doing drugs that look worse than normal white people, and all white people look disgusting.
And the alpha males
psych. Fuck them. Snowflake says what? Snowflake says what?
A hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank. Okay, I'm making stupid money. Hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank.
All lives matter. Have you tried doing an impression on a college campus?
I think that there's no reason why reasonable people across the divide can't all agree with this. Psych.
And the alpha males are back. And the Africans are black African. And the alpha males are black. And the Africans are back.
When you see Donald Trump out there, doesn't a little part of you think that America deserves to be taken over by jihadists? Keeping it 100.
Can't knock the hustle.
Come on, fuck them.
Things I do for the bigger game plan.
By the way, it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me, Jew boy. I have a thought experiment for you.
And the alpha males are back. Africans are black. Alpha males are black. Africans are back.
Come on. Come on. Someone needs to pay the price for blasphemy around here.
I am a total pussy.
We are back. Sam Seder, Emma Vigeland on the Majority Report. Everybody's left the building. I don't know what happened. We'll be. I'm going to call. Oh, I know what I want to do. I'm going to call into the program and take a call. We'll take your calls. It's gonna be a while till we get to other calls. 646-257-3920. 646-257-3920 is the number. Am I dialed in? Matt, can you see if I'm in there? Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second. Bear with us, folks. It's one of those days, getting back into the swing of things. It does not appear that I called in. Hold on. Here we go. That's it. All right, let's take a phone call. Rusty, you're going to have to hold for a bit, but I want to get to this right away. If I am not mistaken, I know who this caller is. Calling from a 210 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon, Sam and Emma. This is John from San Antonio.
John from San Antonio. Glad to hear from you. Glad it was you indeed. It is Tuesday. We are now 20 days out from the election. I know you've got a big interview tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be appearing on the Letter Hack Show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll have on the top forecaster of the 2022 election cycle, Logan Phillips, to discuss the upcoming presidential, Senate, and House elections.
Are you going to grill this person?
I wouldn't say grill, no. I would say
go
have
at
a discussion.
So you're just going to allow them to bob and weave?
No, I'm genuinely interested in his opinion. So that's what I'm going to do. I mean, so I would encourage people who are interested in detailed information about the elections to go to Logan's website,